Hello everyone, welcome back to Molly's Cozy Kitchen. Today I will be showing you how to make chocolate ginger petit fours. These petit fours are a perfect treat for Mother's Day, which is coming up very soon. This recipe is adapted from one made by the queen of petit fours herself, Valerie Gordon. Now then, let's get started. In a large bowl or the base of a stand mixer, mix 10 tablespoons of softened butter, 1 teaspoon light corn syrup, 2/3 of a cup of granulated sugar, and a half a teaspoon of vanilla extract. Beat until nice and light and fluffy. I love the smell of vanilla. Actually, you just saw me smelling it right there. All right, now let's make the wet batter. In a smaller bowl, whisk together 2 eggs and 2 tablespoons of sour cream until smooth and consistent. I like beating my eggs first so that they get easier to incorporate. Then add in the sour cream and whisk again. This may take a minute of very hard work if you're using just a whisk, not a stand mixer. All right, now add the egg and sour creamy mixture back into the butter mixture and beat until fully combined and smooth. Now it's time to 1 cup all-purpose flour, don't spill like I did, a half a teaspoon of ground ginger, and a 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda, plus a pinch of white pepper and salt. I had that mixed in with the flour already. I have this really cute old-fashioned sifter that I love to use, but you can just use a regular sifter. Oh, and take a tablespoon of that candied ginger that I hope you made and chop it really fine. I did make a video on how to make candied ginger, so you should check that out if you haven't already. Add that into your batter. And use plenty of hard work if you do not have a stand mixer. I really should have one, but I don't, so I have to use my hands. Once a very smooth, thin, lovely smelling batter forms, grease down a baking sheet and line it with parchment paper. Try not to oil the parchment too much because it will make the batter harder to spread. And if you have an offset spatula, please use that to spread it out to the edges. It is so much easier. Bake in a 350-degree oven for 4 minutes and then rotate and bake another 4 minutes. Remove and allow to completely cool at least half an hour before using. Trim off the edges of the cake and cut the cake into 3 equal portions. I used a ruler to be completely sure. And a pizza cutter will help you get more even lines than a knife. So if you have a pizza cutter, now would be an excellent time to use it. Sandwich the layers of cake in between parchment so that they don't stick together. Make sure that there's parchment on the bottom, in between every layer, and on top. Then use plastic wrap to wrap up the entire cake package. You want to make sure, you may need to double wrap it even if you just want to be completely sure that the cake is all covered. Then let it chill in the freezer, up at least half an hour up to overnight. Make the ganache, set aside 1 cup of dark chocolate chips. Then bloom 1 1/4 teaspoons of powdered gelatin and 1 1/2 tablespoons of cold water. Set aside 10 minutes. In a saucepan, bring 1 1/2 cups plus 1 tablespoon of heavy cream and 1 1/2 tablespoons of light corn syrup to barely a boil. Remove from the heat and add the gelatin, which you should whisk in. This helps it incorporate better. Once the gelatin is completely dissolved, pour the hot creamy mixture over the chocolate chips and let it stand 1 minute. We want the chips to be nice and melty. Then use your rubber spatula to fully incorporate. Add 4 1/2 tablespoons of very soft butter. You may even need to melt it a little bit until it is completely smooth and creamy. Then add 1 tablespoon of ground ginger and let the ganache chill in the fridge for at least half an hour and up to overnight. Your ganache and cakes are all chilled, you can layer them. Take a sheet of cake and lay it down on some plastic wrap. Add half the ganache and use an offset spatula to spread it out evenly. Then continue layering the cake and ganache. Top the final layer of cake with parchment paper and use a rolling pin to gently roll it out. We want the layers all pressed together, but we don't want the ganache to spill out the sides. Then wrap it up in plastic wrap and chill in the freezer at least 3 hours and up to overnight. Now you can make your coating and assemble. Finally, we can assemble. Melt 16 ounces of dark chocolate chips and 1 tablespoon of coconut oil in 30-second intervals in the microwave, stirring in between. If you don't have a microwave, just use double boiler. If the coating is a little thick, you can use some canola oil to thin it out until it reaches the desired consistency. Get your petit four base out of the freezer and trim off the excess edges. Then, using a ruler if you need to, cut it into bite-sized pieces. I tried to make my uniform, but they were still a little bit rustic looking. And yes, you can definitely eat the edges. They are very worth snacking on. You may want to keep parchment paper underneath them. As you can see, mine started to stick a little bit to the cutting board. All right, then use 2 forks to dip the petit fours into the chocolate coating. I am balancing the one petit four on one fork and then coat it using the other fork to coat it in the liquid. Then I'm topping it off with that candied ginger I made. This will elevate them from okay to phenomenal. All right, since this is a Mother's Day special, I'm having my mom try one of the petit fours. She loves chocolate ginger, so it's no surprise that she loves these petit fours. These are a wonderful treat to make for the person that you love in your life. If you like this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and click that bell for notifications. The recipes are all on mollyscozykitchen.com. Thank you for stopping by.